This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring defense attorney, Hidden Killers daily contributor, and host of the Defense Diaries podcast, Bob Motta.
Without a doubt, the ongoing litigation, the ongoing hearings, the ongoing waiting for Brian Kohberger to get to trial, certainly taking its toll on the families. A recent statement from some of the victims. We want to start healing. We do. We want to find justice to try to move on from this horrible tragedy. So please start making some decisions, get to work, and quit playing the delay game. Of course, those being directed at the defense of Kohberger, at the judge, everything. I understand their frustration. Anyone would be sitting there, but at the end of the day, we are talking about the life of a man named Brian Kohberger, who's been charged with this crime. But we're looking now at early 2025 for a date to start this trial, almost 3 years after the crime actually took place. Joining me to discuss timeline, what is realistic, what is not, why it's taking so long, defense attorney Bob Motta, host of the podcast Defense Diaries. Go press subscribe to that as soon as you're done watching this. It's a great one. And on YouTube or wherever you download podcasts. Obviously, I think a lot of us knew very, very early on this would take a long time to get to trial. But prosecution saying, look, we've already gone through 95% of the evidence. Ann Taylor saying we got a lot to look at here. We're looking and examining basically one night of one man's life. Why does it take 3 years to determine what he actually did?
Yeah, and I know that the general citizens out there don't like to hear it, but you know, that old axiom that the wheels of justice turn slowly exists for a reason.
Sure.
And it's because they do. And because it takes a long time to prepare a case like this for trial. And it's a death penalty case. And there is a massive amount of evidence that was collected. And both sides need to go through all of it. Both sides need to find expert witnesses. They need to work on scheduling with expert witnesses. Expert witnesses have to prepare the reports. And that doesn't include all the other witnesses that have to be spoken to. You know, the defense has an absolute duty to investigate the claims. You know, this isn't just a thing like people don't understand that defense attorneys have an obligation and a duty to investigate the claims on behalf of their defendant. It's not just like you get handed a bunch of paper and we say, oh, let's go to trial. And that's not what this is, you know, and that's not taking into account all the motion work that still has to be done. And I assure you, there will be plenty more motions that are filed in this case. And all of that takes time. All of it does, you know, so it's like, frankly, cases like this take 2 to 3 years to get to trial, and that's, you know, kind of without fail. And I don't know if you know, T, because you've been working all day, but in our other favorite case, Delphi, the defense just filed their motion for a 70-day trial today. So there you go.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so,
wow.
Yep. So that falls right in mid-May, and that is calendar days. So the judge has this isn't one she can deny.
Yeah.
So she's going to have to set a trial 70 days. The only thing that can kind of move that, I know we're talking Kohberger, but it's relevant here because this is one of those rare cases. This is a case where, you know, you want to see things get to trial earlier. Well, the defendant has the ability to push the case forward by filing what they call a speedy trial demand, which obviously did not take place in Kohberger. Hence, we're getting the long, drawn-out period of time in between arrest and trial. And in that case, they're pushing it. The defense wants to put the state to the test and see if they've got the evidence and see if they're ready to go to trial on it. So we're going to get a trial on that one, and it's going to be a big one.
Wow. I did not know that. I'm sure we'll be talking about that again very, very soon.
Yeah.
Going back to the Kohberger case, if Kohberger has an alibi witness, which has been claimed before, where is he or she? Or is he or she really not that strong of an alibi witness? If you have something really strong, if they are sitting on something that could exonerate him, would they not be kind of coming out with it by now? Or is it just a lot of, well, we're going to have to see how the jury thinks of this, what the judge thinks of that, and we have to get to trial to get there. If you had something super solid, wouldn't you bring it forward by now to exonerate him? Or is it like I said, it's like, well, it's kind of, it's something, but we don't know how big of a thing it is.
Yeah, it's the latter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The answer is if he had some kind of stone cold ironclad alibi, they sure the hell would have brought it forward at the time of arrest.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, this is where I was.
Yeah.
Here's my witness. This is my proof. I was in Mexico. Here's my plane ticket. Here's a video of me at the resort. If you have an ironclad alibi, we're not even to the point where we're at now, meaning arrest is taken place. You've gone through, at this point, over a year of litigation. And, so whatever it is, and Taylor had made some kind of intimation that, she's not going to be able to put forward the alibi defense without the benefit of having witnesses up on the stand. And I'm assuming that that's either Bethany or Dylan or both. The two surviving witnesses, it made it sound like that they had something to do with his alibi defense. So what it is, I have no idea. But what I do know is that it's not some kind of ironclad alibi like that. I know.
Is the judge being realistic here? Is he being too lenient? Is he being realistic on let's wait till early or mid spring of 2025, or should he be a little more, no, we're going to move forward a little bit faster on this? Obviously, at the end of the day, you don't want to have to try this case again.
No, I think he's being reasonable, and frankly, it's not just the defense; the state's agreeable to it. You know? It's a lot to prepare. It's like people just don't, unless you've practiced law and tried cases, you just don't understand how much goes into prepping that. This isn't people going in and winging it. Yeah, it's like everything has to be litigated prior to. All the evidence has to be vetted, and when you start talking to the witnesses, and it's difficult for the defense to be able to speak with witnesses that are state witnesses. Many times they don't want to talk to the defense investigator and or defense counsel. And, it's just one of those types of cases where even though it appears pursuant to the state's timeline that all of this took place in 15 minutes time on one night, there's a lot that led into it. There's a lot that they're looking at prior to. There's a lot that took place afterwards. This isn't just a 15-minute time frame. There's a lot of things that went on beforehand, like, him creeping around the property and pinging 12 different, on 12 different occasions around the house, and then everything that took place afterwards. We don't know where lab results are at with DNA and anything like that they found post arrest. It's like there's just a lot going on. And frankly, the judge doesn't know. Like the judge just has to take the word of the attorneys in terms of where they're at, in terms of prepping the case. That's why they have these status hearings every 30, 40 days. That's the entire purpose of it. And if people don't know, like judges don't know what the evidence is prior to trial. Now, obviously they're made privy to certain pieces of evidence when motions are litigated, but like as a general proposition, the state is not giving the judge a copy of all the discovery and the judge isn't pouring through it. That's not what the role of a judge is if they're not the trier of fact, meaning if it's going to be a jury trial, which this is. So, judges don't know. So they have to go by what the attorneys are telling them in terms of preparation. And there's just a lot to prepare for in a case like this. It's like any major case like this, it's 2 to 3 years, always.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advance access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on True Crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.